What up, bitches? Welcome back to Law of Attraction Changed My Life. I am your host, Francesca Amber, and today you may notice that we are in a completely different environment. Am I recording at home on my £60 microphone? No, I'm not. I'm in a goddamn studio. Get excited, we are having an up level. As the summer holidays are approaching, I wanted to talk about something that is so common for so many women that are trying to manifest their goddamn dreams, and that is that they are feeling extreme overwhelm and burnout. I know that I certainly am, and as the summer holidays approach, it just gets more and more. So the other day, I gave a talk to a group of women that are in like the skincare industry for my friend Kat. And this was the topic that they all wanted me to talk about, was this idea of work-life balance, how we can achieve a work-life balance, and how we can avoid burnout. And it reminded me of something that I read in a book about a year or so ago, which said that there is no such thing as a work-life balance. Anybody that has a perfect balance, if you imagine a straight line, right, and you've got work, life, and your life is perfectly balanced with the line going up the middle, both areas of your life are going to be completely mediocre. Like your work life is never going to explode. Your home life is never going to feel fulfilling. You're just going to be very mediocre on both sides. Anybody that has any real sort of success in any area of their life is going to have more of an exaggerated zigzag line. There are going to be times when your work is demanding a lot more of you. If you think about athletes, right? Any kind of athlete, whether it's a footballer or an Olympic athlete, their lives are incredibly unbalanced. If you said to them, try to achieve a work-life balance, they would laugh in your face with their gold medal. It ain't happening. They will always go through periods of extreme imbalance as they spend the majority of their time training and working on their craft. There are going to be periods of time where they are not spending time with their family. There's going to be periods of time where they're not socializing with their friends. They're not traveling. They're not going on holiday. They're not drinking for sure. And it's going to be extremely swayed in the work direction. That zigzag's going to be huge. And if you think about in this modern age, most of us women, we want to have periods of time where we are simply at home with our children. We want to be present. We want to spend quality time. And we want to have that zigzag going in a completely opposite direction. For me, I feel like I've had virtually like a 2 or 3 year maternity leave. And I fucking love that for me. That is a real modern day luxury. And so don't ever feel bad if your life is not completely balanced or not balancing the two. It's better to actually think of it as a work-life blend. Now, this idea of a work-life blend is what I discovered in the book, The Hustle Cure by Sophie Cliff. This is a book all about toxic productivity and burnout for women. And she said that the blend is a lot more forgiving because you're able to have periods of your life where you are blended in one way or the other. It might be 70% work, 30% life, and likewise in the other direction. When I think about my own life, I definitely have a period of this coming up. So in September, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I do have a new book coming out, Manifest Like a Mother. It's out on the 4th of September, which also happens to be the very same day that my twins start school. Now, do I have incredible mum guilt about this? Yes, I fucking do. But it's kind of unavoidable. I am contractually obliged to do lots of shit around that time. And I have to look at that zigzag line, right? And I have to see there is a short period of time that during the release of this book, I don't know if I mentioned, I'm going on a fucking tour, not a worldwide tour yet, a UK tour. If you want to come and see me, I'm going to be in Dublin, Liverpool, London, London again, Manchester. Check it out. It's all at francescaamber.com. But that requires me to be away from my home and to be away from my children. For that sort of 2 or 3 week period, my zigzag is going to be fully on the work side. I am going to be absolutely unbalanced and tipped towards work. And that's absolutely okay, because for me to achieve the things that I want to achieve, you have to have imbalance sometimes. And so I know that after that period of time, I will probably have a lot of time with my children. I'll be able to take them on holiday. We'll be able to go and spend a lot of quality time together. And so I just wanted to say that first, is like, you do not need to worry about it being perfectly balanced. So this is my 3-step process to avoid overwhelm when you feel like both your work and your life are pulling you in different directions. Step 1, and this is more of a mental task than a literal physical task, but I want you to write down every single thing that is weighing on your mind at the moment and you feel like is your responsibility. Now, like I said, this is not so much a list so that at the end of it, you're able to go through and tick everything off. I simply want you to recognize how many things are living rent-free inside of your head. So as I did this, I realized, someone told me the other day, I did not know this, that when you have a house, you need to get your guttering cleaned. Did you know that's a thing? You need to actually pay someone to come along, go up a ladder and clean out your guttering. No one ever fucking told me this. If you don't do it, you end up getting a leak in your house, you get damp and all that kind of stuff you don't want. So I'm like, great, now I need to get my guttering cleaned. I got a message the other day from the doctors. I need to have a blood test, need to go and book that in. One of my children, apparently, her teacher said she needs a hearing test. I think it's selective hearing, but there we go. There are so many things. Dating. I keep thinking it's been 5 years I've been single. Should I start dating? Should I make the time to go on Tinder? What else was on my list? So many things, so many things. I need to take the dog to the vet. She still hasn't had her worming thing. All these things that go on the list, not to mention all of the work obligations, all of the school emails, all of the every single thing that you have to figure out for your personal life, for your home, for your car, for your business, for everything. And as I wrote everything down, I thought, Jesus Christ, that is a lot of shit. That is a lot of stuff that our parents or our grandparents would not have had to deal with. No wonder we are experiencing extreme overwhelm. So I want you to write your list and just look at it. Look at the sheer amount of stuff that is taking up your bandwidth in your brain. The other day, my friend said, oh, my daughter's going to start cheerleading when she's like age 2 and she loves it. She's going to go to gymnastics. She's going to do this. She's going to do that. And all of a sudden I felt like, oh my God, is it bad that my nearly 5-year-old twins do not do any kind of dance or club activity? Like, are they behind? Should they be doing the splits? Should they be doing this? And it started to absolutely stress me out and overwhelm me. This is a perfect example of something that's just added to your mental load that you're like, this is what I should be doing. So first of all, just acknowledge that list and see the vastness of it. Step 2 is to prioritize. Now, prioritization is a skill that is absolutely vital if you want to be able to manifest whatever you want into your life. So many people are unable to prioritize correctly to ensure that they are working towards their dreams. And so what I want you to do is to consciously uncouple with quite a few things from that list. Now, when I looked through my list, I looked at it and I looked at dating, right? I looked at dating. You need to go on Tinder. You need to go on a date. It's been 5 years. It's been 6 years, however long it's been. And I just thought, you know what? I am in the busiest period of my career ever. My children are very young and I've got a lot of shit going on. I'm going on a tour. Do you know what I mean? I'm touring around with my book. I ain't got time to date. I genuinely do not have the time. And so it was really nice to just cross that off my list and release it from my brain. There's other things, like I mentioned before, like the girls doing dancing or gymnastics or whatever. I was like, do you know what? When they start school, when they've got like their routine and they're doing the same thing every day, maybe I'll start them at dancing. So if you feel uncomfortable, I give these two as examples, right? But if you feel uncomfortable about knocking things off your list altogether, maybe you think, oh, I can't let go of that. Like I need to remember it because what if I just never do it? Feel free to set yourself a reminder on your phone for 6 months' time, for 9 months' time, for a year's time to say, have a think about going on Tinder. Are you ready to date yet? Or would you maybe like to look into getting the girls into dancing lessons? Give your brain that mental break for 6 or 12 months. You will experience such a mental load being lifted from you simply by doing these first 2 steps. Prioritization also comes into seasons of your life too, right? Whether that season is a week or a month or 3 months, whatever it might be. There are times where if you want to achieve the things that you truly want to achieve in your life and you say are your goals, you're going to have to fucking prioritize like you mean it. I'll give you an example, right? So this week, I had my normal week, right? Part-time mothering, part-time working, full-time trying to be a bad bitch and get all the things done. Now, I had this studio booked here. This is my first time booking here. And my idea is to record 3 episodes in a day, which is quite a lot of work, right? That's quite a lot of planning to plan out 3 episodes, know what you're going to talk about, research it, all that kind of stuff. That's like a month's worth of episodes in one day. And so the workload for me was pretty high. Now, I started to feel really overwhelmed about it, thinking, I don't know how I'm going to talk about 4 different episodes. Like, I don't know how I'm going to plan all of this. I normally just manage to get one in a week, literally on a Thursday, just before it's due out on a Friday. How the hell am I going to do a month's worth of this in just one short week? And so I realized that if I was going to actually make this happen and be able to turn up today feeling prepared for this, some other things were going to have to suffer. I was going to have to sacrifice some things. And so many people, I feel like, are not willing to temporarily relinquish their standards of what they do, how they live their life, to achieve a goal in a particular area. So I'll tell you what happened this week. Number one, my house looked like a fucking bomb had hit it. My house looked like a shit show. It looked like somebody had broken in and just thrown all my shit all over the place. I did not have the time. I hate saying I did not have the time. I prioritized working on my podcast because I'm going through a very conscious up level of this podcast, and my house looked a bit of a mess. The other secret of my success is that sometimes I have very, very, very dirty hair. Okay? That is it. Sometimes I genuinely do not have the time to wash, dry, and Dyson Airwrap my goddamn hair, and it is something that I sacrifice. Or going and getting my nails done, whatever it might be. The ability to prioritize the tasks that are going to move your life forward in whatever direction you want to go in is the single most important thing you can do. So whatever season it is, like I said, this little season here was like just a week long, right? The priority was getting ready to record my podcast, which is the number one part of my work, getting this done today. And so, yeah, my house looked like a shithole and my hair was very dirty. That's how you do it. When I look back at some of the periods of the most growth in my life, in whatever area of my life it's been when I have hyper-focused on one particular area, often to the detriment of other areas of my life temporarily. That is the word, is temporarily. So I always think back to the lockdown, right? When we were in the national lockdown, when I had twin newborns, and I decided I was going to focus absolutely every fibre of my being, apart from keeping my children alive, on doing this podcast. I was like, this is going to be my sole focus. I had everything else stripped away. I could not go out and date because, as I said, I had twin newborns. I couldn't go out and see friends and have fun. I couldn't travel. I couldn't go on holiday. I couldn't go shopping. I couldn't do all of these things. So everything else was stripped away and I was able to hyper focus on that one area of my life. So when you think about it, what one area of your life do you need to hyper focus on to make it happen? And step 3 of this process is simply to share the load. There's an incredible book that I often recommend yet have never even read because I'm not in a relationship, but it's ideal for anybody in a partnership, whether it's a business partnership or a romantic relationship, called Fair Play. As women, and I know there's like a couple of gays listening, but as women, we do take on the majority of unpaid labour, whether it's through housework, cooking meals, childcare, whatever it might be. We are literally doing the lion's share 99% of the time. And that means that you have less time and less energy to work on your goals and your dreams. So I think it's only fair to have an honest conversation with your partner and say, how can we make this more fair for us? How can we even it up? Like I said, whether that's with a business partner or a romantic relationship. What I love to do in these situations is to actually have a really difficult conversation like that. And why is it so difficult, by the way, for us to ask for help? Like, it's so difficult. So instead of really struggling and reaching breaking point and then being like, I need help, can you please just help me? Whether it's your mum you're asking, your mother-in-law, your partner, whoever it might be. And then the next week, you're back to square one again. Actually have a conversation about a sustainable, lasting change, about something that could be fairer in the long term. So how about I have every Wednesdays to work on my business or my dreams or my goals, whatever it might be. Maybe that one evening you could take over all the responsibilities and I get to have a night to do whatever I fucking please, to be honest. You can do whatever the fuck you like. You ain't got to explain yourself. But making it more fair in the home and in the workplace is the number one thing that is going to help you to achieve your goals. Because let's be honest, if you're overwhelmed, if you're burnt out, if you are put upon by too many responsibilities, you are never, ever going to have the energy to achieve your goals. You're just not. Something I always love to think about is that we are always juggling. We have so many responsibilities. We're always juggling, but there are glass balls and there are plastic balls. The glass balls, you can't drop that shit. You can't drop it. For me, my glass balls, to give you examples, are picking my children up from school and nursery and feeding them and bathing them and caring for them. That is a glass ball that I absolutely cannot drop. Another one is recording my podcast. So although a lot of my work is quite fun and it's like about growth, there are some real basics that I have to do. So a podcast every Friday and then my book club episodes every sort of 2 to 3 days. That is what I have to do. It's what people expect. That's what people have paid for. And so as long as I get those glass balls, like as long as they keep juggling, there will be some plastic balls that drop. Plastic balls are, I don't know, going and volunteering at that PTA meeting. Nah, not for me. Going and having your hair done. You might have to forego that to make your goals and dreams happen. You might have to forego that to make sure the glass balls don't drop when you are squeezed for time or energy. Anyway, I hope that you found this episode enjoyable and I hope you found it valuable. If you can share this episode with a friend who you think will benefit from it, please do. Do the Lord's work. You can also follow me on Instagram. I'm at Law of Attraction Changed My Life and Francesca Amber. And you can find all of my other shit at francescaamber.com. I also did an episode that I think would go really well with this. If this is like speaking to you, I did an episode about the 4 different types of rest we need to fully like replenish ourselves. So if you want to go and listen to that, I shall leave the link in the show notes below if I remember. All right. Thank you for listening. The Law of Attraction has changed my life. It's going to change yours too, bitch. Bye.